Welcome to GradConnect. My name is Kush Raval, and today I'm in conversation with Mahira, who has also enrolled as a GradRight ambassador representing the University of Cambridge. Please, could you introduce yourself?
Hi, so my name is Mahira, and I'm at Cambridge. I'm undergoing the Law Master's program, which we call the LLM. And before that, I have two separate undergrad degrees back home in India, which were at the University of Delhi. One was a BCom honors degree, and then my undergrad LLB, my undergraduate law degree. So yes, that's about me.
So today we'll be talking about Mahira's journey to the University of Cambridge and grab some insights about the university. Thank you so much for taking time out to help Indian students with their journey to masters abroad. So
Anytime, I'm happy to help.
Sure. So what led to the thought of pursuing a master's degree in LLM, and why did you choose abroad for masters rather than India?
Correct. Exactly. A relevant question for my field. Why? Because no employer or no chambers in the law profession, in the legal industry, asks you to do an LLM or the law masters. Let's say MBA or something still has an additional value in addition to your undergrad, but that is not the case with the LLM. It's something you do out of your own volition, out of your own will, or the other reason around could be for people who want to venture out into academia or want to teach further, take up PhDs. But for most people, which includes me, which is my answer too, was to just have this amazing international experience, which was lacking back home in India, in universities there. The overall perspective to things is so different here. You understand things from a global and international standpoint, which is really valuable. So all of these things, all of these factors in combination, they kind of compelled me to do it, that no, I have to have this experience, no matter that any employer is not asking me to, or it may or may not be relevant in my career. I'm still not sure, but I just wanted this experience for, of course, enhancing my legal knowledge, but also my overall personality and perspective to things, because you sit with lawyers from so many different jurisdictions, different countries. You understand how they think about legal issues. It's a very enriching classroom. Everyone gives out their opinions. There's discussion and debate. The professors are excellent. So I just wanted to have all of that in my kitty.
So when you had decided that going abroad is your goal, so
Yeah.
What process did you follow to shortlist the course and the university you wanted?
Right, exactly. So I can, of course, answer for my course, but somewhat that applies generally. So many factors come into place, right, Kush? So for me, I started with the decision of the countries. The first thing is, where do you want to go?
Right.
The first question is that, and then other questions and answers flow from that. So let's say for something like law, there are countries that follow civil law, common law. It's different. So me coming from India is a common law country, and UK has the nearest proximity to Indian laws because we were a British colony. Our legal structure, our administrative setup was given to us by them before they left, and we'd been following that. So the most natural choice for Indian students to take up the law masters is always UK. But then US is also there, Australia is also there, Canada is also there. But for me, several factors coming into play, like the proximity to Indian laws, that mattered. Secondly, let's say some US law schools demand a certain years of work experience. I didn't have it. I'm coming here right after my undergrad law degree, so US is rejected. Some countries can offer a program which is very expensive. Again, US, I would say, so I chucked that out as well. So all in all, considering several factors, the reputation, the country in general, opportunities, rankings, that is also another factor. UK law schools were topping the charts everywhere. Of course, US law schools were too, but the UK law schools as well, including London School of Economics, Oxford, Cambridge. So all in all, considering repute, expenditure, whether work experience is needed, the kind of modules which are taught, the kind of overall experience I was looking for. So just a holistic view led me to the point of choosing UK as the country, and then further shortlisting my universities where I wanted to apply. So that was broadly what was on my mind.
So how long did this research work took you?
It
Like you
took
were
you a
doing it all
long.
by yourself and you
Yes,
did all the ground
yes,
research.
exactly. So some people, while they're working or if they're already studying, they might not be able to devote much time. But in my situation, what happened was this was the period when the pandemic just hit.
Right.
That was the time I had to apply. My undergrad law degree was delayed, like all other degrees who
Mhm.
were like that semester, which was stuck March 2020 onwards for everyone. So things were delayed. Universities in India were trying to come up with solutions like online examinations. The results was everything was super delayed. So if I had to graduate in June 2020, I graduate in December 2020. So I had, and there was no hiring really. So I had good few months to put my time and effort into this. I thought the best thing I can do right now is make a strong application,
Right.
could devote all my time here. I was not doing anything else. Frankly, I put my whole soul, heart, and time into this. So I went through several articles, talked to so many people, watched endless YouTube videos, research. Took me a long time, made a database of my researches, figured out things for myself, made lists, figured things in my head. The major time taking part was the research, of course. So
Right.
I just sat back, gave it all my time, and could research properly because I had the time. I utilized the pandemic standstill for that, basically.
And what were the final lists for your shortlist universities? How many did you
Right.
shortlist?
Correct. So I was doing it in a phased manner.
Mhm.
It could be different for everyone. I'm not saying
Right.
that what I feel applies to everyone, but what was on my mind was to go for at least one of the top 10 ones. Top 10 here means the top 10 lists for around the world, like top 10 schools around the world, not top 10 in UK. It
Right.
mattered to me. It was something I wanted. I thought if I'm taking this year away, if so much money is being spent, so I want a good reputed law school if I'm able to make to that school, of course. So mostly went through the QS rankings and other rankings, which are for law schools or for the masters or for commercial law. So I went through several lists. So my interest area is commercial laws. There are many programs in law running, international law, there's commercial law, people do aerospace law, people do all kinds of things. It's a big, huge field. So I figured out the top law schools in the world for sure, then narrowed it down to which of them are occurring, which are present in the UK, and then also figured out which ones have the modules I'm looking for, which one have the courses I'm looking for. So all in all, I had planned on applying to more law schools in the UK, but I ended up applying to few because by the grace of God, thankfully, I got acceptances from all of them. I applied to QMUL, which is Queen Mary University of London. I did LSE, the London School of Economics, and Cambridge. Cambridge, I thought was a long shot. It's not going to happen, but it did. So I had planned that if any of these amongst these three fail, then I move on to the next phase, which will include UCL, University College of London, or King's College London. So I was hell bent on UK. I had figured these 4, 5 law schools which I was aiming at, but then the processing was quick. I heard back in time. So
Mhm.
all of the three which I applied in my first phase were yes, yes, yes. So I stopped right there because I could make a choice, right? Because it's expensive to also apply. You pay
Right.
an application fee, you put in time and effort. So I thought if I have those three, which were the top ones I'm aiming, so I can stop my process there. It's a personal call you take, right? So when Cambridge happened, so I was like, now I need to stop. This is all I wanted. This was my absolute dream school. It's in the top 3 law schools in the world. So I just went with it.
So you had all the ambitious universities in your first round.
Yeah.
And what all did you do on your side to make your resume strong or your profile strong? Like, did you
Right.
also work on your profile on in that
Right.
pandemic period?
Okay. So that's an interesting question. Why? Because for some people, when they enter undergrad law school, they have it in mind, oh, we have to do the LLM. They work on their profile keeping in mind what will go well with these universities. They make their profile in a manner which will be eventually accepted, but it wasn't the case with me. I never had it in my mind from day one whilst undertaking the LLB, the undergrad law degree, that I have to make it to Cambridge, I have to do the LLM. No, I never had it on my mind. It was this thought, I think, started to surface in the last year of LLB, maybe, when I thought I need to take this step. But otherwise, I was just taking experiences or doing things for
Hmm.
my own sake, not having any university in mind.
Right.
So, but I'd been lucky that everything was went well and my profile actually got accepted. So my main focus during my undergrad years was to do plenty internships. I did that.
Mhm.
Then I used to took up some extracurricular activities at both of my undergrad colleges back at DU. Would do some event management, would do some placement drives, etc., etc. I used to have fun doing that. But then that tells about your transferable
Right.
skills when you have those things in your profile. And thankfully, the major factor which was always in my favor was good grades. The grades were always fine for both of my degrees before, and that is one key factor, especially in UK admissions. It's a very the programs here and the country in general with their education system is very academic. More than your work experiences, they are just fixated on your grades. It is a thing here, as far as I've known from people, heard or read. So one thing in favor, the biggest factor was grades. But other than that, I did have internships and other extracurriculars, and it all went fine. But never really worked on the resume like that. it
Right.
just it just happened, I would say, honestly.
You just worked the entire years and you were just doing great in
Tried to,
years.
tried to.
So out of like the three universities you
Hmm.
shortlisted and applied and three you got into, out of
Yeah.
them, why did you choose University of Cambridge over the other two?
Right. So, okay. When we strictly come to making choices, when we have it, that's again a choice I made. And at first, when you get Cambridge or Oxford or the top schools you were aiming for, LS, you're like, oh, I'm sorted now. I don't have to think. But sometimes, when you actually have to make a choice between two or three, you sit back and think again. You go through that process again in your mind. Why? I'll tell you a very interesting point here. Cambridge, okay, highly ranked, highly acclaimed, competes with many, many law schools around the world, stellar reputation, very old university, law school very strong. The strong people in the profession in the country in UK, the strong people, the very accomplished people in the legal industry, they went to Cambridge. So all of these things play in your mind. Oh yes, I'm absolutely going there. But there are other factors also. Like for example, for LSE or King's College, they are situated in London. I really feel now, which I can give that as an insight, Cambridge was amazing, but it's a student town. It doesn't have offices, or it's not a metropolitan where you have so many people working, doing several things. You meet new people. You meet new people also here, but they're all students. It's a student town.
Right.
But I strongly felt one thing even during the year, and which was on my mind whilst making the decision also, that with LSE, King's, UCL, they are in the heart of London. They're situated in central London. So you can do better networking. You can connect with people in the professional circles. You can meet various kinds of people in the professional working circle
Mhm.
and come into contact with them, carve a career path for yourself, or whatever your reasons could be. Location does play a role, is what I feel, is my personal opinion. I wouldn't say that, oh, it was such a lack here. I am here at Cambridge, I'm grateful, it's my top choice and I got it. But it's also another factor, which the question you asked previously, that what factors should be in our on our mind. So yes, location is also a factor. London is London. Cambridge or Oxford are towns away from London. It's a fact. So but yes, ultimately also keeping that in mind, uh, eventually, after all of the analysis and after pros and cons, Cambridge was ticking all of the boxes, and I wanted to have that brand. I wanted to have that experience. I wanted to go through that pedagogy, which is so different from India. The way things are taught and the way classes run and the way we are assessed is very, very, very different from India. So I read about Cambridge. It just fit. They have extra seminars also which cater to my interest. Like we have a center for commercial laws, which have speakers from around the industry coming in, giving talks on several important topics. And then all in all, the city is really rich. You meet really, really great minds. So everything about it was fitting. was ticking my boxes. So I just made a choice, stopped thinking much after that, and just accepted it and declined the other offers.
Okay, so that was like a long shortlisting process in
It
it
was,
to
yes,
decide the
a
pros and
little bit,
cons.
yes. It took a little bit of time,
Because you
yes.
had the best three, right? So you had to
Yes. So
actually make a choice.
if you were spoiled for choice and you're like, okay, then I can make some choices.
So what was the application process like? And if you
Hmm.
like could highlight on the scholarship process also, and how do we apply for scholarships?
Yeah. So application process is just like any other, mostly similar for all courses, I would say. And I can tell where I focus the most. So, okay, CV was there. You can't just change it in a day, right? It's your progress all throughout your academic educational years. That is done. Then your reference letters, your recommendations are up to your teachers. You can't much work around that also. They have seen you for certain years, they've observed you, they will write what they really and honestly feel about you. But one thing which is in your domain and your zone, which is very important, is the statement of purpose. I don't know about other courses. It can differ from university to university and course to course. But here for the LLM, mostly around the world, I would say, even US law schools, Canada law schools, Australia, UK, there's no interview process. For some courses, there's an interview that happens one on one where they undertake an interview, maybe on Zoom or online, and then select you for the course.
Right.
Not the case here. So your SOP, that just two-pager document, is all the space you have to express yourself, put out your personality. In addition to your CV, that's a very objective, unemotional sort of straight document. That's a different matter. But there are certain things maybe you want to say. You want to tell about your dreams. Why do you really want to come here? What even made you think of undertaking this course? Why did you think of having this edition?
Mhm.
So all of those things, it's just those two sheets of paper where you can put your whole personality, your whole life, your thoughts, your dreams for them to read, for the admissions committee to read. I personally thought it's something very important because, as I said, there's no interview. So most of my time and effort and energy went into that. That was the point that demanded a lot of research. I went through so many sample SOPs, so many videos of people who were on the admissions committee and what they look out for, and what do they like and what do they simply hate, and they're like, oh no, 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 this is an absolute reject. So that's a research you do. So I went through many SOPs, reached out to people. The thing is that no SOP is like your inspiration that, oh, I read this brilliant SOP, I want mine like this. No, it's just a reference point. It's something so personal that no two SOPs will ever be the same, and no SOP can be your inspiration and or your model that I have to follow this one. This is the exact structure I want, and I'll fill in my details. It doesn't work like that. Only you can write it the best for yourself, mostly. So put my effort in that. And next question was about scholarships. So with Cambridge, or I think with all universities, it's always said when you read about scholarships, there are external scholarships and internal running within the university. There are many running within Cambridge also. So I, in fact, applied for a few. I got selected for one, went up till a level of the process, but didn't get it further because only two people get it. So that was within the Cambridge Trust, which was within Cambridge University. For that, you need not make a separate application. Your application to apply for the university is considered in a similar fashion for the scholarship, and then you hear back from them and that, okay, you are now selected for the next round and next round. And then there are plenty of external scholarships running for Cambridge. There are state wise, field wise. There are many lawyers and judges back in India who have scholarships on their name, who sponsor kids to undertake this course. So everything's available on the internet that you can go through. So that was my only source, the internet, right? And maybe reaching out to people on LinkedIn who have it mentioned in on their profiles that they were scholars, so
Mhm.
asking them about how it works. So yeah, the usual sources for me as well, like it is for everyone else.
Those were some wonderful insights. Now, let's dive towards your university life. So, how diverse was your batch, and like what background did other students have?
Very, very diverse. One thing about Cambridge, I absolutely have to agree. When I entered here, amazing diversity. You just name a country and you'll find people from that country undertaking a very different kind of course, a very different kind of research. So in terms of diversity, which is something which is like a goal on our mind, something which we seek when we enter these universities, right? Back at home, you're studying in a very homogeneous environment. Everyone's like you, everyone has had similar experiences, they're coming from similar kind of backgrounds. Okay, even if not similar, you're sharing a nationality. That's a big deal in itself. But the diversity is one of the major things you look out for, you want to experience. So in terms of that, I was fully satisfied. There were people from all continents, all countries, having different outlooks, eating different foods, having different perspectives, and different characteristics and qualities. So it was the intermingling was the best part here of my whole uni life, I would say. And even if I talk about my course in particular, so even if it's like I mentioned, the common law, civil law thing, even even if UK is a common law country, we had people from civil law countries like, let's say, Brazil or other European countries undertaking the law masters here. And then I happened to ask one of my batchmates, why are you doing this? You belong to a different legal system. Your undergrad was different. You'd been working differently. Why would you do a law master's here? Then they said, Mira, it's okay. These are two very different systems. We are on different paths, but reaching the same outcome. So it is very interesting for us to understand the different perspective and the common law aspect of things. We came here for diversity, not in terms of just people, but also how the law operates. They had that perspective in mind, which I found very interesting, that they wanted to see the other side of the coin. And yes, exactly, we're all headed to absolutely one same outcome, which is justice, but just done slightly in different manners, in different paths, different rules of evidence, etc., etc. So that was the thing about diversity.
So I believe like everybody had their undergrad in law itself.
Yes, yes. It's for because to apply for this course, the prerequisite is that you must have an undergrad law degree back in your country with a certain grade.
Okay. So
Yes,
you already highlighted a little about the teaching methodology, like it's very different from India. Could you highlight a little
yes,
more on that
yes,
and also tell
yes.
about the professors? How,
Correct,
yeah.
correct. I can throw some more light on it. So, back in India, also universities can differ a little bit. We have more newer private universities coming up, and they are doing well, absolutely. But I went to a very usual, classic public university, which was the University of Delhi, and things are running the same and same and same all throughout these years. Things don't change much there.
Right.
So for me, the shift in the educational pattern, the system, and the academic learning was very different. So here, so back in DU was okay. You have lectures. Yes, you take down notes. You have exams. You prepare. You give the exams. It's standard, usual Indian teaching. But here, things are very different. It's the first amazing thing which I couldn't experience back at home was having a virtual learning environment. You have a Moodle, every lecture is sorted, every lecture has a reading list uploaded before you go to class, that these are the things you need to read and come, and then only you'll be able to understand things, then only you'll be able to contribute to class, then only you'll be able to participate in discussion. So you would always have a reading list uploaded before class. It will mention the articles you need to go through, the book chapters, the judgments for law, the case laws. Then you would go on to your digital library, which is given to you, the access is given to you by the university. You would download, you would read, and then the professor would have their PowerPoint running, which is a standard thing for all universities.
Mhm.
And few slides would be summing up a lot that you read before. And he would already have on its mind, on his agenda, that these are the things which need to be discussed in today's lecture. It's very sorted, that this topic has to start and finish in this lecture. It never goes on to the next one
Right.
because the next one is already planned. So one different thing which I really appreciate, which was one major difference I found here, was properly reading before class. We don't usually do that in India. We just go to class and then figure it out there. So preparing the lecture beforehand gives you so much better insight before sitting into that class. And when that when the lecture is delivered, when they discuss things with you, or even if it's a monologue running for a few minutes, he's explaining things to you, you have such a better perspective to things because you've read before, and then you can ask questions. Maybe you came across a doubt while reading a day or two before, then you can always ask in that particular lecture. So that is the thing which I really found interesting, relevant, and beneficial. And coming to professors, they are all masters of their field. They have it is slightly intimidating also at Cambridge that you're being taught by professors who have published books which are referred by all the law schools in the country, and even some in India. Like I remember from my undergrad law school that my professor would mention, okay, let's refer to this professor's book in UK. And then when I came here to Cambridge, that professor was teaching me. It was so overwhelming, also intimidating, scary, but amazing. You can't believe it. It's such a great experience. They're all masters of their field. Some have also practiced in courts for so many years. They give you that practical insight. It's just amazing. It's too good to be true.
That's a wonderful experience.
Yes.
And like in over here, like you're experiencing every day is a preparation day, but in India,
Yeah.
people just go for attendance.
Yes,
To the
yes.
exam.
We let's admit it. We all had these thoughts when
Right.
we were studying back in India. We never thought it this way, that should I prepare my class beforehand? It
Right.
really matters.
So, going further, how intense is the course, and were you able to manage a part-time job as well, or it's just
Yeah.
because
Oh,
I feel
correct.
law is
So
very intense.
yes. So for this course, of course, we all came thinking we could do part-time internships or maybe part-time jobs for some extra cash. But the course is very intense. The reading lists are too intense. And with 1 year masters, and it's not even 1 year here, Cambridge and Oxford, they are 9 month masters. You
Mhm.
come and you finish. Everything happens in a span of 9 months, and you take 2 months to adjust on a new continent, right? So I would say effectively 6 or 7 months. I am not counting the first 2 months. So that way it's very intense. So was not able to really go for part-time jobs or internships, honestly, because your reading lists are very heavy, very bulky, and
Right.
then you want to experience other things here. There are so many social things happening. You're meeting new people. You're doing extracurricular in terms of attending extra lectures that happen around the city, not just related to law. Or maybe there's a Shakespeare festival going on and you want to go attend that play, and then you need to travel a little bit, then you need to plan your future also a little bit, what you want to do after that. And otherwise, not just apart from your lectures and not just social things, I'm saying there are also many intellectually stimulating things happening. There are many pro bono projects running. You join societies which can add to your profile also and give you a great wonderful experience. So sometimes it's like part-time jobs or internships take a backseat, but again, it's very personal. Everyone comes here with their own different agendas on
Right.
mind, and they allocate their time differently. It's at the end becomes very personal.
Because some people priority is over studies and
Yeah.
also enjoy the extracurricular things which are
And
there,
try to strike a
right?
balance. That's the
Rather than
that's
doing
the
the monotonous
that's mostly the approach, I would say. Most people would think like that, what you just mentioned.
because you're
But
already
there could be
studying a
many.
lot,
Correct. So because of course studies are important, but this
right?
whole holistic experience is so good to be missed. Hmm.
So, can you like tell me a few things you love about University of Cambridge and a few things you don't like?
Okay. Few things we can start with few things I don't like. Very few. I sometimes
I
feel
can
that
guess the
the
first one, location.
yes, yes. Oh, thank you. You gave me another point, but I was saying something else. But yes, somehow the location was a lack. I cannot deny that. Had I been in London, maybe I would have been able to figure out few things more. But not complaining. Of course, the reputation of the university precedes over location for everyone. I know that when it's a decision, everyone goes for the repute. But yes, somehow London or the bigger cities in every country, New York in US or Sydney or Melbourne in Australia, they have an edge. It's a fact, right? So one thing was yes, somehow making peace with the location. And I also feel that the workload, the readings could have been slightly more manageable. We are here for a very short span of time, and there's so many things happening. The thing with these foreign universities and short-term masters is something which I also faced, which I can say not something I disliked, but something I struggled with. I can say it like that. Is the overwhelm. Many things are happening all at once, and it becomes a task to juggle it all together. So you need to decide that before arriving, before flying, that what do I want from this experience? How do I want to strategize this year? These are the things I want to do, and these are the things maybe I don't want to indulge in. But give everything a shot, try new things, take that salsa dancing class which you never did in India. There are so many opportunities to explore your personality independent of law, business, science, or whatever course you do. The good thing about these universities is they let you have a free play about your personality. There are so many things happening, there are so many opportunities to try out. So two things is, yeah, the location bit, and the second thing, that the workload, the readings could have been more manageable because it's a very short span and we're supposed to do so many things. So the readings could have been designed in a manner that were more attainable, more
Right.
achievable, and not making us feel go crazy about them. And third, which is not just about Cambridge but about all foreign unis, which I mentioned, is the overwhelm. Sometimes you feel very low for not being able to do all things in the day, because there will be times you will not be able to manage everything together.
Right.
So, and the things I absolutely like and I love, of course, there are many. That list is longer. The quality of professors is amazing. That's the kind of experience you must have in your life. How a classroom feels like with a great, amazing professors. We have amazing professors back in India also. Oh, absolutely grateful to that education, but it's just slightly different, which is the experience is slightly different here, which you must have. And no matter, I complained about the amount of readings, which is okay, but when you sit and read, the quality of readings is exceptional. They're beautiful. When you finish an article or those chapter books, those book chapters, you feel so satisfied. It's such an intellectual stimulation. The quality of material is superb. It's fabulous, well researched, well written, so clear, concise, that it's just amazing to read. If you just if you're so deeply invested in your degree, if you really want that specialization in your life, you do masters because you really like something and you want to take it further. So definitely the foreign universities and Cambridge in particular is great for it. So yes, the quality of materials, the professors, and the diversity point we discussed, met so many people, met hundreds and hundreds of people, had brilliant conversations about their life, their work, their approach in general. And I learned a lot. It's just the best year of my life because it was so challenging, and you're supposed to do everything on your own from pin to plane. You figure things out on your own,
Mhm.
and it's been a very liberating experience. In that sense, you become free, independent, and liberated to make choices for yourself. So that way the university has been great. The help from university has been great. If you're facing some problem, there's a medical issue, or you need their help to figure out general things in the city, they're very responsive. So that is one good thing about Cambridge. And you have great resources in terms of the resources which you read, like the online digital libraries and other resources like career services and support. So there's really good career services support team here which you can reach out to. I personally reached out to many of those people for several small little things, but those small little things matter, like how to make my CV better. What are the small little things which are important, which you need to keep in mind while drafting a CV for professional circles? Because when you apply to a university, that kind of a CV is different,
Right.
but when you want to apply for jobs, it's different. And how can you carve your career paths? If you're feeling confused and lost, they would give you really great assistance. So that's great. In terms of assistance, these universities are very prompt, responsive, quick, helpful. So that is a very good thing. The resources here are amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all the advice and all the insights you shared today. It was a wonderful session. I know a
Same.
lot of Indians will benefit from what all you have shared today, and it was a wonderful
Yes.
experience talking to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And it was an absolute pleasure. And I'll be glad if someone someone can feel helped after watching this. So had a lovely time. Thank you, Kush.
Thank you.